Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP TV 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Jack Ruland in Skycam 16, meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Tim Carlson Sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Good evening. The financially troubled Berwick Fair has filed for bankruptcy.
We've been telling you since last week that the fair organizers had big money problems.
Newswatch 16's Melissa Sander is live now in Berwick. What's the story?
Well, Karen and Nolan, this is the petition that the operators of the Berwick Fair filed in federal court in Wilkes-Barre today. It lists the top 20 creditors. In other words, the 20 businesses who are owed the most money for working for the Berwick Fair. Now, the fair organizers tell me they have yet to figure out the total number of people who are owed and the total amount of money that is owed, but I did talk with the man who tops this list. His name is Stephen Mackes, and he is an electrician. He says he's been paid several checks so far, 5 checks, but one of them he found out bounced today at the bank. Now, it winds up that he's owed $22,000 according to this creditors list. And I've asked him where that money is for. He says it's from last year, not for this year's money, but for the services he provided last year. So I said, well, Stephen, if you're owed money from last year, why did you work this year's fair?
A bunch of us creditors went back this year to give them a chance to have a fair because it was good for the community. And with our contracts that we had with them, we felt safe and secure. They agreed that we would get paid this year, definitely. So we went in under good faith so they could have another fair. But we had the same trouble, poor management.
Now, Stephen Mackes isn't sure what he's going to do yet. He says he's going to meet with his attorney to decide. Meanwhile, I spoke, as I said before, with the Berwick Fair organizers. They are inside their offices here in downtown Berwick. They don't want to go on camera, but they say they will tomorrow morning at a news conference to answer all questions and also to answer the question, will there be a Berwick Fair next year? Karen and Nolan?
Thank you, Melissa. The two sides of the international paper plant strike in Lock Haven are no closer tonight to settling their contract differences. As Newswatch 16's Bob Costantini reports, talks were held today for the first time in the 2.5-week-old strike, but it's a stalemate.
A federal mediator walks the hall of the Holiday Inn near Lock Haven, but neither side is moving, and in less than 2 hours, talks are finished.
No progress. I think same issues are still on the table that were there when the strike began.
International Paper's Hammer Mill plant in Lock Haven is being struck by more than 700 Paper Workers International members. The dispute is over wage concessions the company wants. But now the union has a demand, which points to a long strike.
Whenever we get a settlement, that any replacements they have in there have to come out.
The company has indicated it will hire non-union labor to replace the strikers. Applications were taken, but no one has apparently been hired. The two sides will not meet again until July 24th.
This coming Saturday, the union is holding what it hopes will be a big rally in support of its position. Union members, their families, and people belonging to other unions in central Pennsylvania will march here through the heart of Lock Haven, voicing that support. The union is also hoping for a big turnout from the general population. Bob Costantini, Newswatch 16, Lock Haven.
A Scranton lawyer who became the Chief Justice of the state Supreme Court has died of cancer.
Retired Chief Justice Michael Egan died today at his home in the Scranton Hill section.
Newswatch 16's Bob Reynolds talked with Egan family and friends today, and he's live in our Scranton newsroom. Bob?
Well, Nolan and Karen, Michael Egan spent almost a half a century in the courts. First as a lawyer, then as the youngest district attorney to ever be elected in Lackawanna County's history, and finally as the head of our state's highest court before retiring about 7 years ago.
This newspaper headline may sum up Michael Egan the best. He won the respect of the legal community and had a lot of power in the Supreme Court, but he liked to be called simply Mike. Those who know Egan best said his family always came first. In 1964, he turned down an invitation to meet President Kennedy just so he could go on vacation with his wife and children.
Although I think he regretted it later because it wasn't long after that the president was shot down in Dallas. But I think it's an example of his showing that he would rather be with his family in this case, the Jersey Shore, than being with the famous and powerful.
John McLean pumped gas into Egan's car as a youngster and later worked for the Chief Justice as a clerk.
He said to me, "John, I'd be happy to give you these robes for your youth." He always understood that as an individual, and what you are as an individual is far more important than any position of power or authority that you might occupy.
Michael Egan's family says one of his last wishes was for a simple funeral. Egan will be buried at the Immaculate Conception Church in Scranton on Friday. Hundreds are expected to say goodbye to a man who gave so much to his family, friends, and to Pennsylvania. Bob Reynolds, Newswatch 16.
When Newswatch 16 continues, the West Side landfill, an agreement with a snag.
Plus, later on, Mike Stevens takes the Pennsylvania Road to visit with a man who's found something to keep him busy. And it floats.
Look for the SureSave stamp of approval, and you'll find great weekly specials like these.
Maxwell House Instant Coffee, 8-ounce jar, $3.69. 1-pound can of Maxwell House Coffee, $1.29. Stroman's King or Ranch Bread, buy one, get one free. And red or white seedless grapes, 69 cents a pound.
When you want the very best, look for SureSave.
Look for the SureSave stamp of approval at a locally owned supermarket near you.
It's the Subaru Value Celebration, the greatest Subaru deals in Subaru history.
Stop! That's one Subaru commercial you won't see the rest of. What's really important isn't hoopla, but a great deal on a great car, like up to $1,500 cash back on a Subaru. With the money you can save now at your Subaru dealer, you can have your own celebration.
Up to $1,500 factory cash back on a Subaru. Or now you can get Subaru's 3.9% financing. That's really cause for celebration.
A major snag tonight in the plans to keep open the West Side landfill. The latest DER deadline to close the Luzerne County dump is tomorrow. Yesterday, things were looking up for the landfill. DER said it could stay open if Luzerne County backs a $1.4 million bond. But that's where the trouble begins.
Newswatch 16's Mark Davis is live now at that dump in Plymouth Township. Mark, what's the problem now?
Nolan, the problem is this. Luzerne County will only back the bond if all Luzerne County towns which dump their trash here can pay the same price. Because right now, that's simply not the case.
Members pay less. 12 towns make up the landfill authority and own the land. Those towns are given a break on their fees. Edwardsville Borough is a member town and pays $5,800 a year. That cost could skyrocket to possibly $100,000 or more under a uniform rate plan. That uniform rate plan is very necessary, according to Luzerne County Commissioner Jim Phillips.
This is a county bond, and we can't discriminate. And we can't have some people dumping at one rate at the landfill and somebody else at another rate. It's unfortunate that this has to happen that way, but that's the way it is.
Under the plan to keep West Side open, dumping would continue, but on a very limited basis. The garbage that could not be dumped would be made into bales in this large machine and then trucked to other landfills, while the West Side is made larger, with new areas for dumping. But that could take 6 months or more.
Now, we tried contacting the 12-member towns that will be making this decision. We could only reach 6, and everyone would only say they want more information, but they're very concerned about the higher rates they would have to pay. It's a matter of either paying higher rates to dump here or even higher rates to dump it out of the area landfills. Now, a special meeting of all 12 towns and their councils have been called for tomorrow night at 7 at the Courtdale Borough Building. A majority of the 12 towns, it is believed, would have to approve any plan to keep this place open. And in the meantime, by the time the 12 towns approve it, that could take a week or more, the West Side landfill would be closed down. I'm Mark Davis, Newswatch 16, live with the Instacam at the West Side landfill in Plymouth Township. Nolan?
Thank you, Mark. Will it cost more to get that Penn State diploma?
And another culprit in the acid rain story. These are some of the stories in tonight's Pennsylvania in a Minute. Officials at Penn State are working on a budget for the university, and it may mean a hike in tuition. They say they're looking into charging students more money to make up for a shortfall in state funding.
A scientific study conducted in Center County says trees emit chemicals that help form acid rain. But scientists from the National Center for Atmospheric Research say they still have to figure out how important these emissions are in the acid rain problem. In Lycoming County, a twist tonight in Ralston's efforts to keep big city sludge from being dumped above its watershed. The company that wants to ship Allentown sludge to Ralston now says there's not enough of it to make money. So it's turned to Philadelphia to make up the difference. It now has to get state permission to haul Philly sludge to Lycoming County.
And the Giants' Despair Hill Climb will be on the starting line this Saturday and Sunday in Laurel Run near Wilkes-Barre. This weekend will mark the 81st anniversary of the race, which pits old and new sports cars against the clock. And that's Pennsylvania in a minute.
And here's a Health Watch 16 update. A 60-year-old Forty-Fort man who last week became the first open heart surgery patient at a Wilkes-Barre hospital is going home. We showed you part of the operation last Monday at Wilkes-Barre General Hospital. Today, the hospital tells us the man is William Smith of Forty-Fort. Also, 2 other open heart patients will be released, one tomorrow and another on Thursday at the Wilkes-Barre Hospital.
And the Weather Watch is next with Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark.
I'm sure you welcomed him back properly yesterday.
Yes, but you can do so too.
How was your vacation, Tom?
It was fine, sir. Thank you.
Good.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
Had a birthday while I was away.
Well, congratulations.
Karen said I don't look a day over 28, so we'll leave it at that.
Okay, 28.
Okay.
Yeah, we believe it.
Yes. And when we come back, I'll be talking about some good iced tea sipping weather. Now, you're watching Newswatch 16 on WNEP TV, and we're proud to serve Mountain Home and all of Monroe County.
Enterprise Aluminum Products. We understand the needs of contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners everywhere. We are your primary resource for major home improvement needs. For instance, consider seamless guttering, soffit and fascia material, windows, doors and casings, shutters, and of course, Wolverine siding. Enterprise Aluminum in Wilkes-Barre, enhancing the quality of life and increasing the value of your home. Call us toll-free today.
Can I help you?
Batter fried fish, gotta have some tender, delicious like. Batter fried fish, gotta get that crispy, golden, what a delight. Batter fried fish, everybody's loving every crunchy bite of that. Batter fried fish, do-do-do-do.
Is that for here or to go?
I don't know. Long John Silver's sounds good to me.
As our meteorologist, he's another year older and another year wiser. Let's find out about today's forecast, Tom.
Well, I don't know. I guess turning a year older, some say, makes the hair turn gray, but forecasting the weather can do just that. Very warm, humid air coming back into the state now, and with July being the hottest month of the year, it's going to live up to that nature over the next few days. It looks like for the rest of this week, and even for much of next week, some computers calling for temperatures to stay well above normal. Now, beginning in Mifflin County tonight, on the fringes of our viewing area. Now, Ray Smith in Belleville tells me it's 92 out there. Had a third of an inch of rain since midnight last night. Foreman Osborne in Millgrove tells me 82, very humid. And Joe Mitros in Meckeysville has a cool 64 in the shade. I had him read it twice, and he says 64 degrees, Tom, so be it. That's in the higher elevations. Now, next we go to Scranton, and kind of a low-angle view over one of the many streams that flows through that part of Lackawanna County. 78, mostly cloudy out back now. The humidity is high, 75%. Very close. The wind southwest at 6, the barometer falling from 30 inches even. We topped off at 78 here in the backyard today, 63 this morning, 94 back in 1921, and 91 and 70 the range 1 year ago. That was the hottest day of the year last year, July 7th. Now coming up, we go to the Skywatch 16's live Doppler radar. Notice the flashing, some very intense rainfall now up in central Bradford County and west of Binghamton in the Elmira area. These big thunderstorms are moving up towards the northeast, up into New York State. But much of our area will not have any heavy thunderstorms over the next few hours. As you can see, nothing showing up just in Bradford County now and across New York State. We go to the cloud photograph and we can see what's going on. There are the thunderstorms there. Most of the heavy stuff now up in New York State. A leading edge of very humid, muggy, sultry air is now crossing Pennsylvania. It's in the extreme eastern counties now. You can see the clouds out ahead of it and wind flow coming in from the west. And so for the next few days, for the rest of the week, very, very humid air. There is a drought taking place in parts of west central Wisconsin, the worst drought in 30 years. Less than a half inch of rain in each of the past 4 months. Out that way, right about in here, dairy farmers are severely affected because there's like $8 million worth of hay that has been destroyed. Steering winds coming in from the west, and see more thunderstorms out in the western part of Pennsylvania now. They could rumble into our area later on tonight, but it looks like a dry evening for most neighborhoods. And tomorrow looks like we will have a good bit of sun, more than today, with temperatures even hotter than what they were today. A heavy shower later on tonight, some thunderstorms are scattered around the area. Temperatures not dropping off a whole lot. Middle to upper 60s in Hartford, Mountain Home, Elysburg, about 70 overnight. Keep the fans going. Picture Rocks, 67 degrees. A southwest wind overnight, it should be light. And tomorrow morning, the sun will rise at 5:38 and sets at 8:39. So then, for tonight, a scattered shower, maybe a heavy thunderstorm later on, 69 out back. Partly sunny tomorrow, very, very humid. Middle to upper 80s. And then on Thursday, mostly sunny, near 90. Near 90 again on Friday, and good chance of a thunderstorm over this coming weekend. So dress light, wear cotton.
Okay, we will.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks, Tom.
Tim Carlson is next with the Sports Watch and afternoon base brawl in Chicago.
Plus an area Little League pitcher who's just about perfect.
How did the new Mrs. Carson get Johnny to marry her? Inquiring minds want to know.
I want to know.
What's the shocking reason Joan Collins had her hubby's belongings carted away? This week's National Enquirer tells you. How can you stop putting things off? What's the right hair care for humid weather?
In the Enquirer.
Why is Madonna saying Sean's jail sentence saved our marriage? Find out in the Enquirer. Over 100 features for people with inquiring minds.
Like me.
Laps around the pool make me so thirsty.
Super summer-sized mega servings at McDonald's now.
McDonald's celebrates Walt Disney's classic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, with 2 exclusive movie posters. One for each $1 donation for Ronald McDonald Children's Charities. Snow White posters while supplies last at participating McDonald's.
This is a beer that's everything a fine imported beer ought to be. It's brewed with all natural ingredients, the way fine imported beers are brewed. Bottled in tall green glass, the way fine imported beers are bottled. This is Rolling Rock Premium Beer, brewed by the Latrobe Brewing Company and imported in bottles and cans from Latrobe, PA.
Well, the Mets are going to make up for last night's rain, right?
Yeah, they had a lot down in Atlanta last night, and hopefully they'll get this doubleheader in here tonight. The Mets playing a doubleheader in Atlanta tonight. Okay, here we are. The first game is a makeup of last night's rainout. We go to the scoreboard to see what's up here while the camera gets adjusted there. The Mets in Atlanta are scoreless in the 3rd inning. And there you see earlier this afternoon, the Cubs over San Diego, 7-5. Now, in that Cubs-Padres game, things got real nasty. Cubs' Andre Dawson hit 2 homers yesterday against San Diego. Today, he hit this one in the 1st inning off pitcher Eric Schau. The next time up, Schau does this. He nails Dawson with a pitch. It hit Andre in the mouth, and both benches empties as Cubs pitcher Rick Sutcliffe goes after Schau. Now, after laying on the ground for a while, Dawson got up, and he was looking for Schau. Watch this. He's just like, okay, I feel better now. Now, I want to find the guy that broke my lip open. I'm looking for him. I want him right now. I want him. And Dawson eventually chased Schau into the dugout. Watch what happens here. Schau's going into the dugout. He said, I've had enough of this. Dawson says, I want him. I want him right now. Dawson was ejected along with Sutcliffe. Now, watch this. Next inning, Cubs pitcher Greg Maddux hits Padres Benito Santiago. Maddux and Cubs manager Gene Michael ejected. Eric Schau, the guy who started it all, was not thrown out. That rule is ridiculous. In little more than a month, kids from all over the world will be in Williamsport for the Little League Baseball World Series. And when you get there, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find any pitcher any better than a youngster by the name of Howie Smith. Sports Watch 16's Albie Oxenreiter went to Ashland in Schuylkill County last night to see Howie come up with another super pitching job.
In baseball, it's pretty tough to improve on a perfect game. But 12-year-old Howie Smith has done just that. During a 6-inning Ashland Little League game last month, Smith struck out all 18 batters he faced. Truly a perfect game.
Well, I didn't know I was going to have a perfect game about the 4th inning. And after the 4th inning, I knew because I had about 15 strikeouts. So then all I needed was 3 more for 18 in 6 innings.
After the 4th inning, I figured he had a good shot at it. And I told him, and he knew. He knew what he was going for. And Then the 17th batter, we got a full count on him, and we did it, though, which is great.
But if Howie's perfect game was his most memorable performance, his second most memorable performance might have come in the first game of the playoff, when he went 4 for 4 with 3 home runs and 11 RBIs.
I noticed when he isn't pitching, he hits the ball better. I think there's less pressure, but once he isn't pitching, he's great offense, too.
Ever want to do anything else?
No.
You glad the season's over?
No.
Glad this interview's over?
Yes.
Howie might be shy about his accomplishments, but when he's on the pitcher's mound, his arm does the talking. And this year, that arm has said a lot. 193 strikeouts in only 13 games. Albie Auction Rider, Sports Watch 16, Ashland.
Instabats tonight, Trips Park Little League, 7 o'clock in Scranton. We'll see you there.
Okay. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Mike Stevens will be taking us down the Pennsylvania Road next.
Tonight, a man who's built a 24-ton creation in his own backyard.
I want it to be really cool.
Me too.
The couch has got to be a classic.
Definitely.
How about the dining room set there?
No, the bookcases.
Yeah, I can see that.
Good. We agree.
We make beautiful furniture affordable at Wilkes-Barre's Best. The Town and Country Furniture Galleries, Main Street, Wilkes-Barre.
This is just how I pictured it.
Listen, we've got great news.
Especially if you've got kids.
Your Quality Plus 4 dealer has an entire family of wagons for your family. There's Escort for the small, Taurus for the medium, Country Squire for the large, Aerostar or Club Wagon for extra-large families, whatever your need.
There's a Ford wagon to fit your family.
Free 9 financing or $300 cash bonus on Escort at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
When only the best will do. Quality Plus Ford dealers and you.
Finally tonight, some people, when they face retirement, wonder what will they do to fill all those idle hours. Well, there's a man in Pike County who's decided to fill those hours building his dream. Mike Stevens found him on the Pennsylvania Road.
You know what keeps life interesting? A little hobby, something to do, something to pass the time with. This is Bill Reichman's hobby. It has kept him busy at his Lake Wallenpaupack home for the past 2 years and 4 months. It has taken him that long to get this far with the Berlindia. There is still more work to be done, as if 10,000 hours already spent weren't enough. But then Bill likes to keep busy. He'd spent much of his life in business, and when he sold out, there weren't any more 7-day work weeks to keep him occupied.
You have to have some kind of a project. My wife was going to throw me out of the house if I didn't get something, or she was going to go get a job. So we found something of mutual interest where we like boats, we enjoy ourselves with boats, so we went with boats. And this is the result.
A little walk along the solid teakwood deck to the pilot house gives you an idea that the results are pretty good. Bill has put together a first-class boat.
Will you let me sit in the captain's chair? You're going to sit in the captain's chair.
There's enough electronic gear up here to guide the Berlindia to just about any place he wants.
Once the boat is all set up and everything is operating, I would have no hesitation at all to make a 600 or 700 mile trip offshore, say to Bermuda. The way it's set up now and when it will be launched, we'll have a cruising range of about 2,000 miles. We have navigation equipment on board, or will have on board, to go anywhere in the world.
But for now, the 24-ton Berlindia rests on forms in Bill's backyard. Its first trip will be by truck to the Mullica River near Atlantic City, where it'll be floated. After that, there'll be some final fitting out work to be done, but everything might just be ready in time for a full cruise. It's easy to imagine this 48-foot boat rocking in the swells of the Atlantic on a trip to some port. At its wheel will be the man who built it. And you just know he'll have a certain satisfaction in watching it all work.
This is something that you know every inch of it. You've done the whole thing from the keel up, and you pretty well live with it. You're married to it, really.
We all need a little something to keep life interesting, don't we? I'm Mike Stevens, Newswatch 16, on the Pennsylvania Road at Lake Wallenpaupack.
And the Atlantic will look much better with that boat inside.
That's neat.
That's Newswatch 16 for Tuesday.
Be sure to join us tonight on The Update when we'll tell you why some people around here can now leave the driving to someone else.
For the team, thanks for being with us.
Enjoy your evening.